I remember an American Idol episode a few years ago where this old black guy, too old to be on the show, but they still let him say his little piece, his little song. And he made up this little rap called Pants on the Ground, referring to the young black men that love to wear their pants hanging off their butt. And he said something like, pants on the ground, looking like a fool with your pants on the ground. And it made me think about that when I read this headline. Obama promising up to 16 times over the last couple of years there will be no boots on the ground in Syria. Boots on the ground, boots on the ground. Obama, you're looking like a fool with the boots on the ground. So from Zero Hedge, this little piece here. Here are 16 times Obama promised no boots on the ground in Syria. And I'll read one from September 6th. September 7th, 2013, weekly radio address by Obama. We're not talking about, what we're not talking about is an open-ended intervention. This would not be another Iraq or Afghanistan. There would be no American boots on the ground. Any action we take would be limited, both in time and scope, designed to deter the Syrian government from gassing its own people again and degrade its ability to do so. Okay, number one, the Syrian government has not gassed its own people. This is a nonsense story that has been used over and over by government. In this case, our government. Just like the women and children, oh my God, women and children. They've even regurgitated pictures. I remember when we were trying to get back into Syria, or was this when, I'm trying to think. This may have been, not Assad, Libya, Gaddafi. And they were showing these dead bodies with just white sheets over a bunch of them. Oh my God, that damn dictator. The guy that took the picture said, "Oh, that's my picture from several years ago. That happened in Iraq. You don't have my permission to use that photograph. Because number one, it's not even related to this. And you're using it inappropriately." Oops. Sorry about that. Well, let's find another picture and we'll say that this dictator did that. Remarks on the Rose Garden, or in the Rose Garden, August 31st, 2013. After careful deliberation, I have decided that the United States should take military action against Syrian regime targets. This would not be an open-ended intervention. We would not put boots on the ground. Instead, our action would be designed to be limited in duration and scope. August 2013, 2014, 2015. That's 2 years now. 2 years and a couple months since we're in October. About to be November. Actually, technically, we are in November as I'm doing this, November 1st. So that's 2 of 16. Okay, so let me stop there for a second. And as of yesterday, Halloween, Obama crosses own red line with Syria development. Washington. Even when President Obama sent U.S. troops back to Iraq and ordered the military to stay in Afghanistan, he insisted Syria would remain off limits for American ground forces. Now he's crossed his own red line. Obama's announcement Friday that he was deploying up to 50 U.S. troops, special operations troops in northern Syria to assist in the fight against the Islamic State, the kind of incremental move that has defined his second-term Mideast strategy. Now, it seems to me that I also remember some of these other countries, Libya, Iraq, Afghanistan, we were told at certain times after we thought it was over with, we're just sending a few back for an advisory capacity and training capacity. So we're not. I know it's boots on the ground, but it's not really, because we're there in an advisory capacity. Is that so? Well, that's interesting. For years, the president has said Syria was presently the kind of situation he was elected to keep the U.S. military from. Washington has no partners in the Syrian government and few good options among opposition leaders. There is no ground force that the U.S. can quickly train. But the crisis has become unavoidable for Obama, particularly since ISIS crossed the border into Iraq. A civil war that Obama once could pin on Syrians to settle has now threatened to upend the entire region. Obama's first move was to send a few hundred U.S. troops to Iraq to train and assist local forces fighting ISIS. That was a return to Iraq for the U.S. military after the 2011 withdrawal, which was a fulfillment of Obama's campaign promise to end the war he inherited from President Bush. End the war he inherited. Oh, I inherited that mess, and I'll stop it. Oh, really? That's why the military industrial complex budget just went up massively. You went ahead and signed that one into law. Boots on the ground in Syria, boots on the ground in Libya, boots back on the ground in Iraq. But over the past year, the number of U.S. troops in Iraq has expanded to more than 3,300. Also, the U.S. began airstrikes against ISIS in Iraq and Syria. So what's the bottom line here? Another liar in chief. He lied in 2008 before he got elected. He lied again in his second re-election campaign. I'm going to finish my duty and finish pulling the troops out. And 2010 came. He did, doing what I said, or 2011, whatever. And like I said, I remember that specifically because I found the day he said, we're pulling out of Iraq like I promised you I would do. I'm doing it right now. It was either the day before or the day after, because I can't fully remember that. But it was day before or after. So we're talking a 24-hour period, plus or minus. That announcement. I read that 2 of the big 3 oil companies got primo oil contracts in Iraq. So you mean to tell me we pulled those troops out at the same exact time 2 of the 3 big oil companies got those oil contracts. So they got the contracts. They get the billions and billions and billions every year off those contracts. Taxpayer gets to foot the bill. And as Donald Trump's been saying, if I was over there, I would have we needed to take that gas and the oil on the way out. Which I don't agree with that. Mr. Trump, I like a lot of stuff you say, to be honest with you. But not that. Because you said we shouldn't have been over there in the first place, and that whole mess, all it cost us, we went over there to try to help, and we didn't get anything out of it. We should at least take the oil. If I was in charge, we'd take the oil on the way out. Well, that's not I don't like that comment, to be honest with you, as much as I liked everything else about Trump. If we're not there to begin with, if we're not supposed to be there to begin with in your own eyes, and then we're there, you can't say, well, since we're here and we were here illegally and we shouldn't be here anyways, but since we're here and we spent a lot of money, we're taking your oil on the way out. I have a feeling Trump may have just said that in his speech for whatever reason. It just doesn't make sense to me. Maybe he means it, but I don't agree with that. And back to the point, who footed the bill, who is currently footing the bill, and who is reaping the reward? Because Mr. Trump, somebody did get that oil on the way out of Iraq. When you say we, you're thinking America, country as a whole, we need to get that money or get some of that oil out of there. I'm sorry, but the 2 of the 3 big oil companies did in fact get those contracts. Therefore, they did in fact get something out of it. So we, America, actually did. Since we, America, at least at the government level, is the oil company, is the banking cartel, is the military-industrial complex. And just to give you an idea of something else I'm going to talk about for 1 second. Quote, deploying a handful of U.S. Special Operations Forces to Syria will not change the situation significantly, said Frederick Hoff, Obama's former Syria special advisor. It's a Band-Aid of sorts. Question to all you folks out there. Do you even know who the hell Frederick Hoff is? Well, that's with 1 F. Frederick Hoff. I'll raise my hand now. First one to speak. I've never heard of that man in my life. And if I have read something in the previous time of one of my videos, I certainly forgot. He was a nobody. I've never heard him again. He means nothing to me. Except he's the Syria special advisor to President Obama. As I've said and have always said, it's not the king you have to worry about. It's the advisors. The king's advisors are not elected. They are hand-selected. So if you have a bunch of men, warmongers, bankers, financiers, debt people love to put the world in debt, take over resources, right? Just complete psychopaths who put their guys all around the president. And you're a guy like Obama. Let's go there for a second. Do you remember when Obama was campaigning? And it didn't matter if it was 2008 or the second time, right? 2012. If it seemed like it happened more in 2008, though. If that man's teleprompter stopped, and it happened multiple times, he was dead in his tracks. Just well, my plans for healthcare. And then I remember one time it was silent. The crowd was silent. They were listening. Like, yeah, you know. Again, this was before he became president in 2008. So naturally, a whole bunch of the citizens of this country were like, "Oh my God, hope and change. This guy's the real deal." And if you listen to his campaign speeches, you got to be honest. Boy, it sure sounded good. Seriously, he knew all the problems, and hey, if he says he's going to fix them, great. Of course, he didn't do that. Naturally. But when that teleprompter shut off, and I remember this one particular instance, I think he was talking about healthcare, and you know my plan on healthcare, and it just shuts off, and he just sits there in silence, and then realizes, oh my God, I don't know what to say, what to do. I can't even fake. I can't even go back to what I was just saying and like just kind of reiterate it, just like till they get the teleprompter up. Couldn't even do that. Just silence. Hear crickets, and then he goes, "Oh, all right, okay, all right, I'll get to you in a minute. All right." Dude, nobody said anything. Nobody was saying anything. No one said anything. What do you mean? Oh, all right. Like they were being too loud. Oh, okay, all right. That's what he came up with to buy some time till his teleprompter came on. So, my example, and why I'm telling you this, if he can't even speak about any freaking thing that any president should be able to speak about without a teleprompter at all, oh my God, we're in trouble. Check. We already know that. Check that one off. But what could you do to a guy like that? What kind of stuff could you get him to do if you had some expert advisors around him advising him? We're the experts, sir. You're the president. You're the big shot. You signed this bill into law. But, sir, I'm your right-hand man on this. And I'm a special advisor, to Syria special advisor. Sir, and here's what I'm going to tell you. We've got intelligence. The CIA intelligence is telling us that this guy's been gassing women and children. We've got a high level of confidence in that intel. Sir, if you don't do anything about this and it gets worse, it's gonna be on your back. Oh well, I'm the president, and I don't want to be at fault if that happens. So I will believe my advisor, since he's the special advisor. Especially the special advisor. Not just any old advisor. Call in the specialist. President's not sure about signing this damn military-industrial complex bill. Call in this. Remember the movie The Cobra? Call the Cobra. Sylvester Stallone comes. He can take out any bad guy. Hostage situation done. Call the Cobra. Oh, real? Call the special advisor. Call the Hoff. Frederick, call the Hoff. Not David Hasselhoff. The other Hoff. Frederick Hoff. Again, you ever hear of this guy? Never. I wonder, let me do a little search right now, just out of curiosity. Frederick Hoff, Wikipedia. Just curious. Hoff, Frederick C., Atlantic Council. Oh. We'll just read a little Wikipedia on this particular guy. And although I typed in wiki, a site came up, atlanticcouncil.org, about expert advisor, Frederick C. Hoff. So he is a member of the whatever the hell secret society this is, the Atlantic Council, working together to secure the future. Oh, I bet you are. For you guys. Frederick C. Hoffman, resident senior fellow. Rafik Hariri Center for the Middle East. Expertise, topics, democracy and human rights, foreign and economic assistance to Arab countries, Syrian conflict, U.S. policy in the Middle East, regions, Libya, Syria, languages, Arabic. Recent activity, just some headlines from him, his full bio. Frederick C. Hoff is a resident senior fellow with the Atlantic Council's Rafik Hariri Center for the Middle East. On March 28, 2012, President Obama conferred on Hoff the rank of ambassador. Oh, pleasant. In connection with his new duties as special advisor for transition in Syria. Hoff was previously the special coordinator for regional affairs in the U.S. Department of State's Office of the Special Envoy for Middle East Peace, where he advised Special Envoy George Mitchell on the full range of Arab-Israel peace issues falling under his purview and focusing on Syrian, Israel, and Israel-Lebanon matters. He joined the State Department in 2009 after serving as the president and CEO of AALC Limited Company, an international business consulting and project finance firm formerly known as Armitage Associates LC. And I'm going to tell you now, whenever you start digging into the dirt and deep like this, and you find such and such company formerly known as, they changed the names for reasons. And they always change names, so you have a hard time tracking down who was CEO, who. They do it on purpose. So I already see that they've already changed it once. So in 2009, he gets to join the State Department, high-level position, and he's the president and CEO of AALC Limited Company, an international business consulting and project finance firm. Think about this for a second. International business consulting and project finance firm. And now you get upgraded to work, you're qualified to work in federal government, and then shortly thereafter advising the president on Mideast matters. What qualifications does he have? Well, I just said it. He's qualified because he worked at an international business consulting and project finance firm, formerly known as Armitage Associates LC, currently called AALC. Wow. Which, I don't know if it stands for something else, because Armitage Associates LC is the same as AALC. So I don't know why it's maybe they just shortened it to AALC now. Hoff's professional life has focused largely on the Middle East. In 2001, he directed the Jerusalem field operations of the Sharm el-Sheikh Fact-Finding Committee, headed by former U.S. Senate Majority Leader George Mitchell, and was the head drafter of the committee's 2001 report. 2001. What happened in 2001? Oh, 9/11. So this guy was the lead drafter of whatever the committee's 2001 report was, which was, I'm sure, had to tie into 9/11 and why we got to go in the Middle East and we got to take over. So you can see the club puts around any president and all presidents their advisors, because no one man, normally speaking, is going to be able to take that office, coming from whatever American background you think, whether it's any clown presidential candidate that is currently running, has previously run, and I'm going to say probably with the exception of Ron Paul, as if they're going to be able to grasp everything without advisors and figure it out all on their own. It's damn near impossible, which is why the club loves to surround them with their hand-picked advisors so that their agenda gets followed to the T and their oil companies get those prime oil contracts, which is exactly what just happened, well, a few years ago. Anyways, spoke enough. Your daily dose of reality. Sorry, I wish it could be about unicorns, puppy dogs and beautiful skies. But I'm Realist News, and I got to keep things real. It's important that we all understand what's going on and become very informed.